from BS Ed2 Batch 3. Today, I want to talk to you about how to teach vocabulary effectively, whether you're a classroom teacher, a learning support teacher, or a homeschool teacher. At some point in your program, you've needed to teach vocabulary. There are some really common traditional practices that we use to teach vocabulary that aren't as effective, and some others that I want to share with you today that I can really help to make your vocabulary teaching truly effective. If you stand to the end, I'm going to show how to get your hands on our sources that I made for you, that I will help to summarize all of this information and present it to your students in a way that really makes sense to them. So make sure you hang around and I'll tell you how to get your hands on that. Today, I want to share with you 5 key aspects that you can use in your vocabulary. Teaching to make it that a bit more effective. So, the first one I want to share with you is compare, contrast. It's really useful when you're trying to get a child to embed a vocabulary, words to get them to compare and contrast the words to other words. So, for example, we might use an example like, how is netball and soccer the same? They are both ball sports, they're both team sports, they can both be played indoors or outdoors. They are generally both played in some sort of field or court. They're generally both played in some sort of field or court. Actually, that's a difference, and then we can ask them how. Are they different? So, I've just given you one. So, netball's generally played on a court. Soccer is generally played on a field. Soccer, you kick the ball with your feet. Netball, you use the ball with your hands. So, we're thinking about how these words are the same and different, and this helps the child to categorize the word and their semantic system. So, the second step that I want to share with you is to think about related words from morphological points of view. So, in the example of words containing the form F-O-R-M base, we might think of words like information, inform, deform, reform, and all of these morphologically related words that can help the child again categorize and store that word in the correct place with other words that have relationships to it. And the third thing you can do is my personal favorite, is to think about the relationships to other words or the connections to that word. So, in the example of the word tree, we might think of these things like bark, parking, playing, climbing, tree, house, green, leaves, nature park, national park, and all of these associations we have with that words. We can also think about who. So we might think about children playing in trees. We might think about children playing in trees. We might think about arborists cutting trees. We might think about loggers cutting trees. We might think about scientists studying trees, and all of the people that might have something to do with trees. So we're getting the child to explicitly make connection to that word, and this creates waves of waves inside the brain so that the child can again categorize and file and store. That's a word in long-term memory. The fourth thing you can do is categorize. So this works with some words better than others, but you might be able to categorize the word according to where it belongs in space. For example, maybe we've sum across the words spatula, and the child doesn't know what is a spatula. We can start to categorize that word so that our other emplacement that are a bit like a spatula but used for other purposes. So we might have things like tongs, large, spoon, egg, flip, and all of the sorts of words. What category does it belongs to? Kitchen, utensils, where might be find it, and the kitchen. So again, we're helping the child to really store and file the words in the right place in a really explicit way. So the fifth thing that you can do is to talk about the non-literal uses of the word. This one is often overlooked, but one of the most important when it comes to reading. Reading comprehension and storing vocabulary. So if you take, for example, a really seemingly simple word like a brain, like a rain, we have a saying in English, it's raining, cats and dogs. Now, a child might think that's a really bizarre things to say. It is literally raining cats and dogs. And we needed to explain that actually it's a non-literal use of the words. And it's saying or a phrase of slang that means something very different. It means that it's raining really, really heavily. So make sure that you always have a think about these words. So that's all for today. Thank you and God bless.